welcome. My name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for joining me when we're going to create a chocolate box. We're going to use this wonderful stamp set, Nothing's Better Than, and we're going to use this with the dies, corresponding dies to go with it, to create the sentiment for a chocolate box to give away to somebody as a gift if you wish to. I'm also going to use the Tailor Made tag dies as well. So let me put those aside and show you what we're going to create. And this is our little chocolate box. It's got today's plan, consume chocolate, and there's some 3 little chocolates here. Now if you pull this ribbon here on the left hand side, it will bring out a chocolate box for you, or a bar of chocolate, a very large bar of chocolate I have to say, and this will be given, as you can say, you can give away as a gift. You pop it in, and making sure that the ribbon is either side, it will go back into your gift box. That's better. Go back into your gift box and all is hidden away nicely. Okay, so let us get our supplies so that we can create our own one. So today I'm going to be using a Cadbury's Dairy Milk. What I've done is I have folded over the edges here and sealed them with a bit of sellotape so that they sit nicely inside the box. Okay, so our supplies are as follows. We've got some ribbon. I've got this beautiful tartan ribbon, no, gingham ribbon actually, that we're going to use. I've got a scrap of white to create our chocolate with. I then have a scrap of the designer series paper, so that's going to create one of our tags. I have a 1.5 inch, a 1.5 inch by 3/4 inch for our sentiment. Put that there so hopefully I don't forget it. I have a scrap of yellow to create a tag, and I have a scrap of the Oleo Espresso to create the word chocolate. Okay, let's put those aside for a second. I then have 2 pieces left. I have the designer series paper, and again I have used the Pansy paper that I used yesterday when we made the box cards, and this measures 8 by 10 inches. And then we have a piece of butter bumblebee measuring 9 by 9.5. Okay, so let's pop the DSP aside, and I'm going to bring in my scoreboard, my big scoreboard. Right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to take the 9-inch side. So as you can see, it's measured up to 9 inches here, and I'm just going to score it down at 8.5 inches, which is this one here. So I'm just going to score it straight down for 8.5 inches. Okay, then I'm going to turn it round and we're going to do the rest of the scoring on the 9.5 inch size. So the first thing we're going to score is a 4-inch mark, right down, then a 4.5 inch. Then we've got the 8 5/8, so there's 8. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to do 9 1/8, which is that one there. Okay, and that is all our scoring. So we've got it at 4, 4.5, 8 5/8, and 9 1/8. Okay, right, and we'll pop this away. Grab this up. Come on, stop this. There we go. Right, now what I want to do is I want to burnish all the score lines using my bone folder. So the first one I'm going to do is the bottom, the 8.5 inch one. So this is actually going to create the base of our chocolate box. Okay, and then we've got these ones. That's 1, 2, and then I've got these ones here. We've got this one, and then the last one. Now, when we look at this strip here is how we're going to hold our box together, but this bit here is surplus. So if I can show you, you've got a little box here, a little box here, and then this box here is surplus. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that off. So I'm just going to snip that up there and snip that there. Okay, so that's the first thing I'm going to do. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a double-sided tape just down that slim line there. So straight down, all the way down to there. Okay. Now I know it's strange, but I do this first before I miter the edges. Reason being, when you miter the edges, which is what I'm going to do now, is just take a corner off there and the corner off there. The double-sided tape will not go all the way to the edge because it just doesn't work that way. So by putting the tape on first and then cutting it, I know the sellotape goes all the way up to the edges. Okay, so that when we create the box, I know it's going to fit snugly on all sides. Okay, so now that I have put my tape there, I'm actually going to cut up on these little boxes here. I'm just going to cut up this edges here. So let me show you what I mean. So you're going to start here and you're just going to cut it up to the next available score line. So you've got like a little flap, and then I'm going to do exactly the same on this one. That's one there and one there, and then again you've got these little flaps. Okay, so the next thing to do now is to turn it over, and you're going to place the next piece of sellotape just across here. So not on the flaps, but just on the long here. Okay, so you've got your sellotape side, okay, here on the left, but on the reverse, and you're putting the sellotape here. I should explain all as we go along. So again, we just need it to go all the way along to the edge, and then we can trim like that. Okay, so the first thing to do now is to create, or the next thing should I say, is to create the box. So I'm going to bring this over, and then I'm going to make sure that this edge here butts right up against the edge of our here. Let me just see if you can see what I'm doing. Okay, and it will butt up just like that. Alright, so first now what we need to do is take off our tape. There's my pointy tool, there you are. Let's take my pointy tool. There, perfect. I'm going to pull that all the way across there. And then we can make sure it lines up. Now you can use multi-purpose glue should you wish to, but just remember that it will take a little longer to dry, and therefore the box will be slightly slower to create. I'm just making sure that the edges are down firmly, which they are. Okay, so there we are. We now have the box shape being created. So with our edges, oh there it is, I was going to say I've done that really well, I can't see the edge. So this is the edge, so this will be the back of our box, okay, because we don't want people to see it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fold in the two tiny bits there, fold in that one, and then taking this bit off we can bring it up. And then we have got the first section of our box created. Okay, so plug that in and bring that up. Now if you want to make sure that's firmly sealed down, what I suggest you do is you take your chocolate, you pop it in the box, and you just tap it a couple of times, and you'll see that it will firmly put your base into place. Okay, so I want the whole of the chocolate to be on the left hand side, so I'm turning it round correctly. Okay, so this is going to be our front. Okay, so with our DSP I'm going to turn it over to the reverse, and I'm going to run another piece of the double-sided tape along this edge and this edge. Run all the way down. There we go. Now we can cut that off with my scissors. And I'll do exactly the same on this. Oops, there we go, all the way down. Up looks like I need to get some more of this double-sided tape out. It seems to be running short. There we go. And there is our designer series paper all ready to go. So this is the front of our box, and so our paper will look like that. Now if you want to, what you can do is, let me just make sure I've got the right edge. Right, so this is the base of this is the reverse, should I say, of my, the back of my box. And I'm just going to, I'm not going to put any score marks in, I'm just going to fold it. Now if you're not happy with the way the box wiggles, again, take your chocolate bar, pop it in, and this will give you a bit of a firmer base to work from. So we're working on the back. This is going to come over, and I'm just going to make sure that it folds. I'm just going to take the edge and squeeze it down with my fingers, like so. And then I'm going to bring this over and do exactly the same. Squeeze it down on both edges. One there and one there. Okay. So that is our left to right, so that is correct. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that we are happy with the edges that are here and here, that they're equal. Then I'm going to take off this strip. Yeah. And then I'm just going to bring it up and fold it over, and then it's secured there. And I'm going to do exactly the same with this one. Make sure I'm happy with the edges. There. And there. And that way I can now take the top of this one off and roll it over so that it meets the edges again. All the way down, and happy with it. There you go. So the edges are now on the back, and this is our box so far. So slide out your chocolate. Now using any punch you can find, I've just got one of these circular punches that I've got left hanging around. I'm going to make sure I am as close to the middle of the box this way, so it's equal on either side. It's in as far as it will go, and then I am just going to pop. Okay, so you've got the hole there. And you're going to do exactly the same on the reverse. So I'm just going to swing it through. Now if I bend it, you can see straight through, and you can see that the punch isn't showing anywhere. So I'm happy with that, and then I'm going to punch again. And now I have two holes. See straight through. Okay. So we can pop that aside. And there is our box almost ready. So the thing to do now is to take our ribbon. And what I like to do is I will take my ribbon, so it's to that end, fold it over that way, and then fold it over that way. Then holding it at the base, like so, I'm going to bring in my chocolate, and I'm just going to rest it on the ribbon and then push it down. I'm letting the ribbon go. Hold that bit of ribbon and it will come down. Okay, turn it over a bit. You might need to wriggle this just a second or two. There we go. Now make your ribbon as long as you need it. So that's a little bit short for me, so I'm just going to pull it out a bit more. There we go. Okay, and then I'm just going to trim it at the end here with my ribbon scissors. There we go. So you can see the ribbon coming up through here, so just bring it up that way, turn it over, and do exactly the same on the reverse. Pick it up and bring it through. Okay. Now putting it through the hole stops the ribbon actually coming out. Okay, because it can't go any further, whereas if it was just inside you'd be able to move it around. So I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to make a knot. Push both of those edges through the hole, and then I've got this wonderful little knot. in place. Okay, there we are. So my chocolate is in place and we're almost ready to go. So what we need to do now is to create the label. So I have got a piece of matching designer series paper and matching cardstock. I'm going to take my largest of my tag dies over the designer series paper and then take the next size down over the bumblebee paper. Run that through my die cutting machine and I will come back with these two pieces. Excellent Bluepeter moment there. Right, then I'm going to take my chocolate, words chocolate, and I'm going to run that through the die cutting machine and that will come back like that. And then the only thing left to do now is to create the actual chocolate. So my piece of scrap paper, which is here, I'm just going to put this aside so that I don't get ink on it. So from the actual Nothing's Better Than, I've got the chocolate here. Okay, so I'm going to use these two chocolate images. I mean, you've also got biscuits, cups of tea and cocktails, which I am sure at a later date we will use. Okay, now let's bring in our three pieces. So this is the outline of the chocolate, so I'm going to use the early espresso and use it as the dark version. Tap that. Perfect. Then again I'm going to use the infill, tap it on the early espresso, stamp it off and then go over the edge like so. There we are. And then using our die cutting tool, we'll run it through the die cut and we will have it like so. Perfect. Okay, so the only thing left to do now is to have the words today's plan consume. Okay, and I'm going to stamp that again in the early espresso on this 3/4 of an inch by 1.5 inches piece of white card we've got. Tap, tap, tap. Just check I'm happy with it. Yep, I am. Make sure it's straight. And then I'm just going to pop that like that. Okay, so we now have all the components to make up the next section. So let's bring in our tags. Just going to poke out these little holes, infills in the O's and the A. That's it, come on, you come. Perfect. It doesn't want to come out, it's just going to be attached. Come on. There we go. And you can go off that way. Right. And there's the word chocolate. So the next thing we need to do is we are going to glue this to here. I'm going to use my Stamp and Seal Plus. Okay. And that's going to go over that little hole like so. Now we're actually going to cover up this hole, but we don't want to put glue on it. So work out where it's going to go. I'm quite happy with it to go like that. So I know I don't want to put glue to where my finger is. So this part I can afford to have the glue. Again, I'm going to use the Stamp and Seal, and I'm just going to use 3 pieces. And then I'm going to put it over my ribbon. There. Okay. I'm going to take my 3 pieces of chocolate and I'm going to add the small dimensionals on the back. That's 1, 2, and then I'm going to place those very carefully over the hole from the tags. Right. They will go like that. So it covers up the hole. Then I'm going to take the words today's plan, consume. Again, I'm going to use my smaller dimensionals and I'm just going to put 1 in each corner. things off of these. Did you actually? I don't think you actually came off, did you? No, you didn't come off that one either. Good grief. There we go. Pop. Okay, that can sit in the bottom here. And then the only thing left to do is to add the word chocolate onto here. And I'm actually going to use my multi-purpose glue for this particular thing. And I'm just going to dab tiny little squirts of glue around the word so that it sticks down in the best places. There we go. But hey, that's flying chocolate. Okay, so now I'm just going to pop the word chocolate all the way down. Just hold it for a couple of seconds so it stays in place, because obviously these tiny bits of glue are not all over the word. There we go. So that is our chocolate box that we have created today. So you can just pull it out and the chocolate comes out and you pop it back in again like so. So that's the one we've just done, and this is the one I did earlier. So great fun, ideal little tiny gifts to give to people for little presents or thank yous for looking after the cat or watering my flowers or something like that. So there you go. Well, I hope you enjoyed that today. I'm back again tomorrow. Do join me for coffee and cards if you're available. It would be lovely to have you. Please leave any comments and I will respond to you as soon as I possibly can. Obviously, as this is a video, I can't respond straight away, but I will do as soon as possible. So thanks ever so much for joining me today. Stay safe, keep happy, and lots of love. Bye.